on 9 months with no income, no sale, no whatever, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, building Zia Group, and thankfully got a very nice kind of, at the time, that was a kind of a luxury sale in our area as my first, and was my first one. But I only sold 2 properties my first year, and my second year I only sold 2 properties, and my third year I only sold 4 properties. So here we are, like, we've had all this success now, but in all humility, like, I almost got out of the business so many times the first few years, and so I share that story with people, and I just say, if you can just survive, right, you can build a really incredible profession for yourself.
I have known today's guest, Daniel Zia, for a very long time, and it has been so cool to see him go from humble beginnings of starting out in real estate and building his team all the way to this year where he will sell over $200 million of real estate. And on today's interview, he really goes over and runs the gamut of everything related to getting started, how to get clients right away, the value of being on a real estate team, and something that I love to talk about, which is how to sell luxury real estate. Now, Daniel is in a great location in Santa Barbara, California. It's beautiful. My wife actually went to school there for college. And if you have real estate referrals, I would highly recommend that you send them to Daniel. He is an amazing agent. I've sent him a lot of referrals, and he's always done a great job and made me look incredible. All of his contact information is down in the description below. So I know you are going to love this interview. Oh, I forgot. He also answers the $1 million question, does your real estate brokerage matter? So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview with Daniel Zia of the Zia Group.
How you doing? How's life in beautiful Santa Barbara?
Life is good. We've got 2 young kids, and so, my wife and I talk all the time about, hey, they didn't win today. We're still standing. We're raising 2 strong-willed leaders in the making, and kind of unique for, I think, our industry is we sell a lot of luxury real estate, and
Right.
I actually integrate my kids into selling luxury real estate. So, for example, like literally my assistant right now is scheduling, $5 to $15 million showings for this weekend. And both of my young kids are going to join me on the showings, and the client is thrilled because my kids are going to tour their kids through the property at a different direction that I take the parents and keep them out of trouble and make sure they're not marking on the walls with crayons, and so they can actually kind of see and experience the house. So we're excited, and I'm just now dealing with good negotiators. So my kids are negotiating higher fees as they get older. So we'll see how it goes.
Man, Daniel, I love that. And I will tell you, I'm going to give you full credit for this. I saw you bringing your son onto your videos, and I was like, man, that's a great idea. So my 9-year-old is very into YouTube and stuff. So he's been on both of I started a new YouTube channel, and he's been on both of the videos, and I have him in my reels and stuff. And man, all I get is everyone texting me like, well, Barron's stealing the show. You don't need to do anything anymore. So it's cool. It's a great idea.
Yeah, it's they started at 6 and 8 during COVID doing Facebook, live real estate market updates. And so for them, it's like, it's as natural as breathing. And it was kind of fun. Jaden did a little reel the other day on why 6th graders shouldn't date. Right. And it got like, it has like 11,000 views or something. So I feel like he's so much more popular than I am. But I'll leverage that where I can in good, ethical ways.
100%. I love that, Daniel. And by the way, you guys, if you want to see all that stuff, we will drop all of Daniel's links in the description. So Santa Barbara real estate, anywhere there in that area, and to see videos of his kids.
There you go.
That's awesome. Well, Daniel, I would love to catch up with you on the real estate side because I know so much has changed and transpired for me, and I'm sure for you as well. So just would love to hear about your team and kind of what you guys are up to and all the amazing real estate that you're selling over there in Santa Barbara.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we sell here in Santa Barbara and Ventura County, but our hub is in Santa Barbara. So for those of you that are watching and aren't familiar, that's about 90 minutes north of Los Angeles up the central coast of California. It's a beautiful place. We serve about 140,000 people here in South Santa Barbara County, and then the outlying areas in Santa Barbara and Ventura County. And I started Zia Group, which is our team name, and started that 19 years ago when I was 21 and still in college. We were the first definitive real estate team outside of a husband and wife or mother-daughter or something. And like a lot of people, I read Gary and Jay's, real estate millionaire kind of millionaire real estate agent book. And I read it on my honeymoon and was studying for my license on my honeymoon. And I was like, I'm building a team, and I just went all in. and started out at Prudential. It became Berkshire Hathaway, and then Keller Williams came into our market, and it was exciting. And so I finally got to join Keller Williams. That kind of started the team kind of model. Like there's no model that could beat this. And then 8 years later, I kind of got connected with another company. I said, oh, there's a model that can beat this. And so our team kind of voted to move over, and we moved over, and we've been doing it ever since. So we sell a lot of luxury real estate, and we're the number one team in our area. So we actually sell more homes than any agent or team in any brokerage in our area, and have a lot of fun doing it. And we're really passionate about philanthropy and giving back and some other things that drive us, in addition to just helping people buy and sell homes, which is cool too.
Man, Daniel, so you hit on so many topics that I definitely want to dive more into for sure. I had a list. I think you've kind of covered most of them, but the first thing I wanted to chat about was, the real estate you sell is very inexpensive. These are like starter homes. What's your average sales price up there?
Yeah, there you go. So average sales price is, kind of depending if you're looking at median or average, it's between $2 and $3 million. So our least expensive, like manufactured home, is like $350,000. Your one bedroom condos kind of start at $600,000 or $700,000 and go up from there. But a lot of we're selling is that kind of $2, $3, $4 million, which is more of our bread and butter, and then kind of up in there into the luxury when you're kind of $5 million and above.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, I was being facetious for sure.
Yeah.
And so, I love seeing the coastal real estate up there in Santa Barbara. It's just, it's such a great place. If you haven't visited, definitely go check it out.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. If you've ever wondered where your next real estate client or commission check is coming from, or you're trying to scale your business to 6 or 7 figures, I want to invite you to book a free business strategy call by using the link down below. We'll hop on the phone. We'll do a deep dive into your business. We'll see what's working. We'll see what isn't. By the way, I have absolutely nothing to sell you. It's all free, and we'll see if potentially partnering with my team or my real estate group can be a benefit to you. But either way, I guarantee that you'll leave the call with a ton of value and a plan of action that you can execute right away to grow your business. Book that call, and I'll talk to you then. Now back to the video.
So let's dive into a lot of these topics, starting with, I want to go all the way back because I think for a lot of people and a lot of agents, some of these things might seem a little unapproachable, like, oh, how do I sell, hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate? But I want to go back to, what was your first sale?
Oh, my first sale was from an open house lead, and it was an expensive one. It was $2+ million. I think it was like $2.2 million. And I needed it. I had gone 9 months with no income, no sale, no whatever, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, building Zia Group, and thankfully got a very nice kind of, at the time, that was a kind of a luxury sale in our area as my first, and was my first one. But I only sold 2 properties my first year. And my second year, I only sold 2 properties. And my third year, I only sold 4 properties. So here we are, like we've had all this success now. But in all humility, like I almost got out of the business so many times the first few years. And so I share that story with people, and I just say, if you can just survive, right, you can build a really incredible profession for yourself. But you got to be able to survive. It's really hard those first few years.
Yeah, that's such a great point because, like I was saying, I think so many people see someone, at your level of success and they think that, hey, it's overnight or it just happened. And it's so important, I think, for people to see like, hey, first year, 2 properties. How much money did you make from selling 2 homes that first year?
I think the gross on that was probably 40 or 50 grand, but we put 40 or 50 grand just in expenses. So we didn't make money our first year. So it was brutal. We were $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in debt, kind of at this line of credit for a lot of our first 2 or 3 years of real estate, which also happened to be our first 2 or 3 years of marriage, which created all these additional challenges too, as our kind of foundation in both company and marriage.
Right. Yeah. I can, that resonates with me for sure, because I've been working with my wife for a long time as well. We have very similar paths. So then, yep. Daniel, take us to this last year. How much real estate did your team sell? We'll take it full circle.
Yeah, the last number of years, we've been selling usually between 180 and 190. We've been trying to break that $200 million threshold. Haven't quite broke it. Last year was our toughest year we've had in years and years and years. We sold, I think, 137, which is still a lot of real estate, but it was a hard year for us, and it was kind of a survival year. And we made kind of an interesting decision, too. We made the decision not to cut expenses and not to do a bunch of other things. So we intentionally reinvested, and it's been really great for this year. Right? We're only on April, and I think we're 63 or 64 million logged closed. So we're excited and hopeful to hit that $200 million target this year. So,
oh, that's awesome, Daniel. Congrats, man. And when we talk about team, a lot of questions I get, especially from newer agents, is like, hey, why should I join a team? What's the benefit of joining a team or a group? Could you talk a little bit to, like, hey, the agents on your team, what is the value proposition for them, and what's the big benefit they see from being a part of what you do?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so for me to hit like a 6-figure net income when I got into the business, I probably didn't hit a 6-figure net until I'm guessing year 4, right? And so our goal is, can we help someone get into the business, oftentimes with no real estate experience, and can we get them to a net 6-figure income within 18 months is the goal, right? So if you figure out that, I mean, like a lot of people can kind of have the emotional perseverance to make it 18 months before they can kind of live in Santa Barbara on that income, but they may not have the perseverance to make it 4 years. So we can really shorten that ramp up time. It's basically like drinking from a fire hose. We talked about it like giving them their master's in real estate sales, like an MBA, but we're also getting them to production quickly. We're giving them leads, training, technology, support, accountability, encouragement, culture events, all these other different things where they have this whole playbook that's delivered, and they have almost no fixed expenses, right? And very few expenses at all. So when they do make money, yes, they're sharing it with the team, but it's almost all net once they do get it, which is a nice bonus too.
So Daniel, you said something very important there. As an entrepreneur, you use the word net income twice. And I think something that a lot of real estate agents don't really understand is the difference between net and gross. And, like you said, on a team, you don't have those expenses. So when you make a commission, that's yours to keep. And,
Yep.
that's all you got to worry about. I think that's so critical for people to really understand and analyze when they're looking at splits and things like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So, Daniel, you've seen a lot of agents, and you have this goal of getting them to 100K net income within 18 months, which I think is fantastic. What, in your opinion, from everyone you've seen, what separates an agent that's able to do that from someone that isn't?
Oh, I was talking with some of my executive team yesterday, and there were 2 words I just kept using so often. It was hungry and humble. Hungry and humble, right? So it's really interesting. You can take people that have incredible sales skills and a great personality and all these different things, but if they don't have enough hunger to push through and to like do the hard work, and they don't have enough humility to like get the coaching and ask for help and run the playbook as maybe not as they think that they should, but as they've been given to really like learn the foundation, the basics. Some of the best people that I think have the most talent actually they kind of like they burn bright and then they burn out. They don't make it. And so, but for the agents that we recruit that stay humble and they stay hungry, they can really build a meaningful profession for themselves. And interesting enough, if either one of those diminish, oftentimes their income goes like this. Right? Because like they get to a point where like, oh, I think I know it all, and they lose some of the humility, and it's really interesting. Their business goes down, or they get a decent enough income, and they're like, maybe I don't need to take that call at 6, or maybe I don't need to actually log 2 hours of lead gen or whatever it is, and the hunger goes down, and suddenly they're like, wait a sec, I only made 80K this year rather than 150. What changed? And we can almost always track it to one of those 2 variables.
Very interesting. Those are very cool things to take a look at. Kind of on that note. When you do have a new agent, what's kind of the base game plan for them to start getting clients? Because what I talk to agents all the time about is, I get people that come to me and I love selling real estate and I watch selling Sunset all the time. I'm going to be a great agent. And I'm like, well, that's not really what the profession is. So I'm curious, in your opinion, like how would you're a brand new agent, let's say, and you come to Santa Barbara, how would you go about getting clients?
Yeah, the first thing is you're going to basically create your database, right? You've done this, I've done this. You're basically going to go through your phone contact list, your email contact list, anyone that you know, from the postal worker that delivers the mail that you may know, to your barber, to your best friend, to your best friend's mother, who might actually be a better potential client with more money than your best friend, right? And
That's
you're going to
right.
put it all in any kind of database. It can be a Google Sheet to a more advanced CRM like Boomtown or Sierra or something else. And you're basically just creating a list of who you know that might be able to buy or sell a home or invest in real estate, or refer you to one or more people that can do that in the coming months or years. So that's step one, is you build the database like you know, and then you're actually, the other steps usually target how do you either add to that database or how do you nurture or foster that database so there are true, authentic relationships, and that there's value-added touches that you're adding, so you're actually adding value to their life, and that they want to reciprocate that and add value to your life, whether that's using you personally or recommending you to their friends and family.
All right, so Daniel, I'm going to give you the devil's advocate. Hey, it's 2024, and that all sounds so old school. I mean, what about Instagram and Facebook and YouTube? And can I just use social media and get clients all day long?
I would say actually, absolutely, Danny, because everything that you've just mentioned to me is actually, those are each a database, right? So yes, there's all this graphical presentation in the front side, but the back side, what it is you've got a database of contacts. Each of them have a different way of communicating with direct messaging. They can either direct message you or not. So you can be reciprocal, whatever it is. But each of those are a database. So in my mind, yes, do the social media, but how do you make those social media followers actual true two-way relationships? And then they're going into your other database that you're keeping as well. And you're trying to get phone, you're trying to get email, you're trying to get home address if they're in your area. And every one of those people, even if they're not going to buy in your area, I mean, they may be, they might be following me from Texas, for example. There's still a potential referral to a great agent like yourself in Texas.
Yeah, I think I like how you connected, those activities with the database and the back end of that. Now, Daniel, what about, obviously, like a lot of people, especially in California, I get this all the time, is like, oh, everyone's an agent. Everyone knows an agent. How am I going to do well? Everyone knows someone. And you mentioned authentic relationships, which I, definitely keyed in on. But how do you separate yourself as an agent from everyone else in the pack?
Yeah, what a great question. So to put it into context, Santa Barbara, we have 1,600 agents. And last year, there were 1,450 properties sold. So we literally have more agents than properties sold. So it's a very tough place to break into. But and I literally, just this morning, I was on a listing appointment. And the person literally told me, he said, Daniel, I know you and 6 other real estate agents that are all clients of mine. But when we thought of selling, I immediately thought of you. And part of the reason why that relationship is authentic is they don't just see me on social media. They don't just see the good presentation. I mean, he's seen me in my PJs. He's actually my mobile IV nurse. He comes over and gives me IV infusions. So he's seen me when like I'm broken and I have nothing to give to clients. And he's actually helping me pump me back up to help other people. But he's also seen how I operate when things get tough, right? And how I operate even at a high level, even when I'm physically not feeling well. And he's seen how I treat my kids, how I treat my wife, how how they have treated him when he's come over. So he knows that I am who I am on social media. He sees my TV commercials, but he knows it's not just that fancy presentation, that there's actually substance and authentic relationship there, and that I truly care about him. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know, a lot of the stuff you said there is right on. Like, hey, develop those relationships, and then be authentic on social media too, which ties into the last thing we talked about. Because I think so many people are afraid to divulge those, personal details, or when things are bad, they just want to portray like I'm just flying around in private jets, driving Bentleys all day. Yeah,
and the reality too is most of if you truly want to be in the luxury world too, it's fascinating. Luxury clients, sometimes more than any other clients, they're craving authenticity, and they're craving you to interact with them in a way that's truly authentic, because they don't want to be seen different. They're sometimes the ones that dress the most casually, things like that. So it's fascinating.
All right, Dan, you led me right into my next topic, which I really want to talk about luxury real estate, because so many people want to sell luxury real estate. I actually have a quick funny story for you. I remember when I first got into real estate and I was in Beverly Hills, and I said to this guy who was a famous, luxury agent, I was like, hey, how do you sell luxury real estate? And his answer was, oh, it's easy. You just hang around a bunch of rich people. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Sounds good to me. But I will ask you the same question. So if someone wants to break into luxury real estate, which real estate agents think that's one of the hardest things to do, what advice would you give that person?
Well, I think the advice he gave you is phenomenal, right? You can be the best prepared luxury agent in the world, And if you don't know anyone with the financial means to buy or sell a luxury home, like you can't do anything about it. So to me, it's the both and. Now, if you hang around with luxury people, right, and high net worth clientele, but you're not authentic and they can tell that you're there just for their money and you don't know the luxury market like the back of your hand, right? Like it just doesn't work. I had a very well-known kind of real estate figure, recommend me to an agent who had an up to $25 million buyer in Santa Barbara. This was just recently. And so this agent, it calls me and says, hey, I'm interviewing a few different agents for my clients. And I want to know, like, tell me about specifically the 20 million and above market, right? And so I hear him. I'm literally like, I'm in the car outside of a restaurant in the parking lot, right, between appointments, and I'm on the spot. So if I know something about the 20 million plus market, great, I've got a shot. If I don't even have that shot, right? So if I didn't know the key real estate figure, I would have got introduced to this agent for the referral. But if I didn't know, hey, I'd just been studying the stats, so I basically said this. I said, hey, here's the interesting thing. We normally have 8, 10, 11, 20-plus million dollar properties to sell every year in our market. It's kind of interesting, but literally in the last 30 to 45 days, we actually have 5 $20-plus million dollar properties that have gone into escrow or closed. And I literally rattled off what the 5 were in profile there and what was special about it. And so right there, all the other questions almost didn't matter. He had full confidence that I knew that segment of the market.
And, if I were watching this and I wanted to get into luxury real estate, I would have right away written down, hey, know your market, understand what's going on, know your stats. And to me, you've always been someone that understands the market and the stats so well. I mean, we've been on appointments together on the phone because I've referred clients to you. And it's amazing to me how well-versed you are in that market. And the other amazing thing to me is how some agents have no idea what's going on in the market.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was 21, right? 21, 22, 23, 24, we didn't have social media, but we had online leads. We had e-commerce. There were things that were starting out there in kind of the mid 2000s. And so I worked with a lot of economists, engineers, people that wanted data. And so they didn't look at me because I was 22. They looked at me because I was having conversations at the level and the language that they wanted. And they realized my age didn't matter because they saw my intellect and my preparedness, so to speak. And that carried me over until my age and experience and my personal statistics, my team statistics can now carry us into a whole different echelon. But that's how I first kind of entered in there. And again, your age doesn't matter. It's just research. It's preparedness. If you don't like to research, find someone that is sharing those stats and just put them in your own words and practice them. And then if you're on social media, go share them on social media so you are literally the local real estate economist of choice.
Yeah, and Daniel, your professionalism, I think, and your communication skills have also always been kind of, top level game. Is that something that's come naturally to you, or is that something you've had to work on?
That is a great question. I can see with my son at 12, the way he communicates and influences and persuades and negotiates. He had that at 5, he had that at 7, he had that at 10. I've always had that as a core of who I am. What I'd say is I've taken that raw, natural gifting and talent, and I have fine-tuned it in business and for certain purposes, right? And, I'm a Star Wars fan, right? I look at those kind of things as kind of like the Force, right? There's a good side and a dark side to it, right? And but it can be used for both. You can be using it to manipulate people just for what's good for you, or you can be coming from love. You hear their goals and you're actually influencing their decisions and how they're thinking about things to actually benefit them and the goals that they have that hopefully naturally align with yours as a true win-win, right? But it can be used in either direction. And so I'd say, hey, I've not only developed and refined those skills and habits, but I've also built my heart to stay humble and stay hungry and stay full of love for people so that even as I've gotten successful, the authenticity that they feel is communicated again and again, genuinely from my body language down. And then kind of interesting is I'm an introvert, not an extrovert, right? So a lot of this behavior has I drain my batteries socially much quicker than an extrovert would, right? So I have to find ways to maintain those skills and that authenticity while also monitoring my battery and making sure that my social battery gets time to recharge in private before key events and client appointments and things like that.
You know, it's funny. We've been talking for a while, and I just realized I totally forgot to turn my light on for the interview. Here, that's better.
I was
We'll
noticing
fix.
you look a little bit dark and rosy now.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post production.
There we go.
So, Daniel, speaking of kind of, because the other thing I think that's apparent when you speak and when you watch what you do is that kind of fact that you put the clients first and then the philanthropy aspect of your business. Interesting story is, Elena still has that purse that she got from you guys, right?
Yeah,
And
hard to
so
play.
I'd love to hear about, how you incorporate that into your business because I know it's a big part of what you do.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was a core part of the company that we created. We wanted to kind of build a real estate company with a purpose, so to speak. And so we take 25% of the net profit of our company and we give them away and invest it in the lives of vulnerable women and children specifically. And we support and equip them and to do really cool things. So it's actually one of the driving forces behind our company. It's a major reason why the majority of our people that work at our company, both staff and agents both. And it drives us and fuels us up to make more money. But it's not just for us; it's also for these great people in connection to those lives and those stories and making a difference for them.
I love that, and I think it's probably a lot of clients would say that it's a factor in selecting you as their agent too. I would think.
It is a factor for some of them. Yeah, some of them it's like, well, it's nice that you do that, but tell me how you're going to market my home, right? And some of
Right.
them that's, hey, we're deciding between three agents, and this is one of a few factors that we're considering, and it helped tip things in your direction. So there is an ancillary benefit to that.
Yeah, no, it's super unique. So that's great. All right, I got a couple fun questions for you. So number one is, what are some of the weirdest ways you've ever gotten a client?
Oh, the first one that comes to mind is my last name. My last name is Zia. It used to be Zia Uddin, which is from Afghanistan. My grandfather
Oh
came over from
wow.
Afghanistan. Yeah. But there's actually a New Mexican Native American Indian tribe called the Zia tribe. So if you go to New Mexico, you're going to see Zia a lot more. There's like Zia Tile. I don't know if that's from New Mexico or not, but it's interesting. I've had a client call and just be like, "Hey, I like your last name. I'm from New Mexico, and I'd like to use you to sell my home." So I'm like, "Cool. I will.
All right,
I will take
that
that."
works. That works.
I had another client who it was because of my son's real estate market update, right? He was probably 9 at the time, and I walked in, and she basically said, like, "Hey, you're here because of Jaden, and where is he? Why isn't he here with you?" Right? And so I'm like, "I don't care why I'm in the room. I'm in the room. Let's go." So
Man, those are two great ways. And see, this goes to show, like, you never know. You never know what piece of content or what communication it could have been that resonates with someone. Okay, and on that note, what are some of the craziest things that have ever happened to you as a real estate agent?
I don't know if I have a super. I mean, there's a real estate agent I know here in town that one time got locked in Kevin Costner's bathroom during a broker's caravan tour. Right? I don't know if I have. I don't. Oh, here's
Okay,
one.
I'll take that
Here's
one.
Yeah, so I was previewing a bank-owned property. This would have been back probably 2011 or something, right? Previewing this bank-owned property and walked around the corner, and there was a skunk that was trapped. There was one of those little skunk trap, and so the skunk was trapped. And of course, I walk around the corner, and what does the skunk do? Right, raises its tail, shoots me. I think back then I wore a full suit, and so literally I'm in like a suit, smelling like skunk in this residential neighborhood, and I'm like, there is no way I'm getting in my car and having my car smell like skunk for the next 5 years or something. So literally, I'm looking around, there's no one there, and I just stripped down my skivvies, right, and stuffed it in the back of the trunk, right, and then I drove home in my underwear, right, and showered off. But that was probably one of the weirder ones.
See, came up with a good one. I love it, Daniel. First of all, thank you. This is so amazing for every agent that's watching. I have one topic I wanted to quickly shift gears into, and then we'll respect your time and call it a day. But the question I have, which I get from a lot of agents, and you've been now in a few different real estate brokerage models. Yeah. I've been in a few myself. And so my question to you, first of all, is, does it really matter what brokerage you're at, and how did you pick the brokerage you're at now?
So to answer your first question, does it matter? And I would say yes and no. I think someone that is truly going to do the right playbook in real estate, right, and has the right talent and personality, they can be successful at any brokerage. And you've seen that, and I've seen that. We've done it at different brokerages, and we've been successful at all. So there is no There, in my opinion, there is no one best brokerage, and there is also, in my opinion, no one size fits all. And so when we were going to leave Keller Williams and move, I spent 50 hours and I put together a massive Google spreadsheet of 9 different brokerages that we were considering. And I interviewed owners and founders and CEOs and everything as high up as I could go on each of those. And I was comparing commission splits and education and technology and the number of agents for how many referrals we would get. I mean, we had this whole kind of matrix. And then I presented it to the team, and everyone got a vote. Every agent, every staff, down to the lowest paid VA, all got a vote where we went. And it was pretty incredible. The majority of the votes were to go to eXp Realty, and that's where we ended up going. We've been there for, 3 years now. And it was phenomenal. And they went because they were excited about the culture. They were excited, both staff and agents, and things like the revenue share. They were excited about the technology. They were excited about the fast pace of growth. They were excited about how many agents there were for referrals to come in from. There was this whole matrix of things, and each one had a slightly different reason why they were voting. But overall, when everyone saw the same data, almost everyone came to the exact same conclusion, even with different priority matrix, because the model is so compelling.
Now, given your personality, I'm not shocked that you prepared that, but I'm going to guess that most of the people did not look at it.
Well, what I did is I took the Google sheet and I presented it at the pros and cons of each one. Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. I was going to say, if you sent it to them, most people probably wouldn't have dove in there. So 3 years later, question is, still happy with the model? Everything is kind of as you expected or better, and everything's going well?
Yeah, I think the key is whenever you join a brokerage, you can't come in expecting a perfect brokerage, and you can't expect a brokerage not to have areas of growth, right? And especially if it's fast paced, right? If it's a fast paced growth model, there is going to be mess. But one of the things that we've actually been really pleasantly surprised is, let's take EXP. EXP used to say California broker support was terrible at EXP. And what did they do? They said, great, that is where we need to solve. And now there are literally 15 brokers for eXp California, and you can go in and get any question you have answered within like 5 minutes, like around the clock, 7 days a week, which is nothing like the broker support I've had at any other brokerage before. So that's one of the things that we've actually been really pleasantly surprised at. If there's an area of weakness or growth, the agents raised their hand and said, hey, this is all our company. We'd like this one focused on next. And from the top down, they say, great, let's work on that next and really make great progress. So we've been delighted to be here and have no plans to move.
Daniel, it's interesting. I, for years, openly said, EXP, nothing's ever going to happen over there. It's a clone of KW or whatever. Virtual is not going to work. But I'll tell you, short time here, I needed some support, and I jumped into the eXp world thing for the first time, and I laughed at the little graphics, and I'm like, this is like an 80s video game. But then within 30 seconds, I had someone explain to me what I needed, and I was out, and I was like, I got to tell you, this is better than any support I've ever had. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and it's, again, the virtual world is one medium. Like, my kids love it. It looks like Minecraft. So their generation is like, this is amazing, right?
Yep.
But the reality, too, is, I jump into the world sometimes, and I've also developed authentic relationships with the different brokers. And so sometimes I'll just workplace chat them or send them a video message or, get on an audio call. So it's not a hey, you have to only use this. It's still a relationship business, even within the company. So it's just building those relationships, and it's one more format where anyone can get a response quickly, even if you don't have the relationship yet, and even if you're a brand new agent and not necessarily like a top company either.
Now, Daniel, one question on that kind of goes with what we talked about earlier is EXP and luxury real estate. I've had a lot of agents go, I want to be at, Compass or Coldwell Banker or at Sotheby's because those are, luxury brokerages. Can you just kind of speak to, obviously, you guys sell a ton of luxury real estate, not an issue for you, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the National Association of Realtor stat is that 4% or less of clients actually are influenced by the brokerage that you're a part of, right? So if you go on 100 listing appointments, right, 4 times, you're going to have a seller say, wait a second, you're not with such and such brand, and you fill in the pieces. Coldwell Banker is not an issue anymore since they got merged with Sotheby's, so we no longer have a Coldwell Banker here in town. We just have a Sotheby's, and they all blended in. Compass is a pretty big name, in luxury real estate. They've worked really hard to build that. But at the end of the day, we're competing against all of the top agents and all those top brokerages. And I don't know. I literally cannot remember the last time that we lost a listing and the seller said it was because you weren't with XYZ brokerage. So I think it's a complete moot point. And the reality, and here's kind of interesting, is a lot of the quote unquote luxury brokerages, they are traditional and dated and not nearly as flexible and versatile and fast moving, or they're reporting to investors and other things and trying to create profits in other ways rather than look at, hey, how do we grow long term, for long term growth and profitability versus short term returns and stock prices and things like that. So I'm very delighted to be at EXP and sell luxury real estate both.
I think the other key thing for agents to understand is that, you own your own business. And when you work at like you said, a traditional dated company, every time you sell a home, that commission that you're paying to the company is going to pay for all that stuff and all those mid-level managers and offices and all those things. So you just have to ask yourself, like, do you want all that? Or would you rather that money get reinvested back into what you need and create, the passive revenue share model? And for me, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're in outdated technologies. Like I remember when I was at Prudential, I was like, wait a sec, I'm paying a technology fee on every transaction, and I'm not using any of the technology because it's so outdated, right? And so it just was aggravating.
Exactly. All right, Daniel, I can't stump you anymore. I've tried every objection. I'm done with that. So let me ask you one final question, which is, is there anything that you can leave all the real estate agents that are watching this, that are hoping to one day be where you are, some words of wisdom from Daniel Zia?
Yeah, I would say, don't let yourself be discouraged. Like, where else can you build a lifelong profession where you get paid for just loving the socks off of people, right? I mean, that's the perspective that we think about is like, literally our job is just to love everyone so well that years later when they think to buy or sell, that they're just like, I love the way that I feel around Zia Group and how they make me feel, and I want to use them, right? I mean, how cool is it that we get a job where we're incentivized to really foster relationships and bless people and care for people? I just think it's the best thing in the world. And why 20 years in, I have no desire to do anything else at the moment.
I love it, Daniel. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time. This has been so amazing and so much value that you've given to everyone that's watching this, including me, by the way. And so I really appreciate it. And everyone who's watching, if you have anyone, clients or agents in Santa Barbara, or you're compelled now to move to Santa Barbara and apply to be on Daniel's team, it's a good time to do it.
We'll take it.
All right. Well, what an interview. I mean, I know I got a ton out of listening to and watching Daniel speak. I hope you did as well. I hope you took some notes. And as always, on this channel, I'm going to tell you the same thing over and over again. Grab that pad of paper, write down one thing that you got from that interview that you are actually going to execute. Because if you just watch this for entertainment, I really appreciate it, especially if you hit like and subscribe, but I want you to get something out of it. I want you to execute, and I want you to make it happen for yourself, because real estate is the absolute best business in the world, in my opinion, and you can achieve whatever goals you have. And on that note, check out this other video that I did an interview with John Pugh, one of my friends and mentors. He goes over so many great things, but most importantly, he gives you a plan on how you can execute and create a lot of business for yourself, even if you're starting from scratch. Check that out next.